Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do today is go for another walk and talk and go through a book, and the book that I've selected for today's episode is an interesting title and a little bit different to what we normally talk about. The title for today's book is 365 Ways to Raise Your Frequency, a book that was published on the 1st of January 2014 by an author named Melissa Alvarez. This book is like a gentle daily whisper from your higher self, reminding you that inner harmony is not a grand event, but the small sum of intentional choices that you make from day to day, with a blend of spiritual insight, practical tools, and heart-centered wisdom. Alvarez invites us to align with higher vibrations so that peace, purpose, and joy become part of our natural state. This book doesn't just demand we change overnight. It encourages us to tune in consistently and watch how our lives transform from moment to moment, from decision to decision, and from what the author here tells us, from state to state, from states of low vibration to states of higher or different vibrations. So the first key message to come from this author is where the author reminds us that small rituals can create massive energetic shifts. Alvarez emphasizes that raising your frequency isn't about dramatic gestures. It's more to do with small mindful acts like expressing gratitude, setting daily intentions, or pausing for a breath of clean, fresh air. Over time, these little rituals help recalibrate your energy and your outlook. We can also include into some of these rituals things like prayer, stillness, quietness, going to church services, and doing the sorts of things that our families have been doing for centuries. The next point to come from this book is where the author reminds us that one's thoughts are indeed powerful magnets, which is an interesting way of putting it and thinking about it. A central teaching of the book is that what you think, you actually attract and manifest. Alvarez encourages cultivating and curating awareness of our inner dialogue, the stories that we're continually telling ourselves, to tune in, to listen, to try and understand, and to replace those conversations that are fear-based or limiting beliefs with other stories, such as affirmations that empower and uplift. Because when it's all said and done, The mind sets the tone for our energetic fields. Another key point from this book is where the author reminds us that energy is a natural frequency booster, whether it's walking barefoot on the earth, listening to bird songs, or watching the sunrise. Alvarez reminds us that the natural world effortlessly raises one's vibration. When we reconnect with nature, we tend to harmonize with its steady and healing rhythm. Another point of learning from this book is where the author calls us to action. The big call to action is to release attachment, to control, and to invite flow back into our lives. Alvarez teaches that clinging too tightly to outcomes or needing to control every detail happens to block our frequency from rising and becoming more fruitful. When we surrender and trust in divine timing, we open ourselves to what the author here talks about in terms of higher guidance and unexpected blessings. And the last message to come from this book is where we talk about acts of kindness, because acts of kindness, according to this author, give both the giver and the receiver a bonus and a benefit. The book underscores that generosity in word, deed, or even something as simple as a thought or a prayer immediately has the ability to raise one's frequency. When one chooses compassion, we not only help others, and this is important, when you choose compassion, you not only help others, but you also align yourself with love, which is the highest form of vibration overall. So in summary, if you're seeking a gentle daily guide to help you rise above the noise of the world that we live in and connect with what the author talks about, the higher self, this book, 365 Ways to Raise Your Frequency, is a highly recommended read. So thank you for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, and I look forward to chatting to you again from some other place and with another message of empowerment. Take care, yasas, and bye for now.